Gooner TV, Gooner Rich B. Another loss. Same old from what I can see. What do you make of the game, mate?
Really frustrating. Really frustrating. I mean, to concede a goal in that manner so early in this game against a team like Man City was just suicide, really, wasn't it? I mean, one of the worst goals I think I've seen an Arsenal side concede. We have been very solid at the back all season overall. Defensively, our defensive record's good, but that was just really just poor. I mean, there's no other way of describing it. You know, how can you let a 5'7", 5'8" guy get a free header from 6 yards to score like that? When it wasn't even a drilled cross, was it? It was just a floated ball into the box. We know Holding had so much time to readjust his position and head it away. It was all over the place. Bellerin wasn't coming around covering for him. It was just a disaster. And for me, as soon as that goal went in, it was game over. Yeah. 2 minutes into the game, it was game over. We were never going to get back into that. As much as we hope we would, you always hope it's 1-0, you've got a chance. But did we even test their goalkeeper? We didn't, do we?
No, not at all. And you know that's the thing as well. We were already warned with I think a Sterling shot like a minute before that, and he didn't learn from it. And
no.
I mean, going forward, if this is what Arteta wants, you know, style of play, how he's got the defence with players like Rob Holding, I can't see things improving anytime soon, mate.
No, I mean, what I would have done, and I know maybe it's easy for us to say from outside, but for me, Benfica are nowhere near as good as Manchester City, right? Make those changes to rest players against the Benfica game. Play your strongest team today against the strongest team in the Premier League. Play your two best central defenders. You know, the ones that's been playing the last few games. David Luiz has got to be in there today. His experience would have been vital in that game. You know, don't make changes. Don't change 3 of your back 4 when you're playing Man City. Make the changes in the 2 games against Benfica, because Benfica aren't as good. And you know, you could say that's a more important game, and maybe it is or maybe it isn't. But the Premier League, for me, we need to finish in the top 6, because I can't see us winning the Europa League. I don't think our squad depth is big enough. I mean, look at our midfield. Without Thomas Partey, it's poor. I mean, the midfield options are poor. I mean, El Neni and Xhaka doesn't work. El Neni and Ceballos is a little bit better, but they can't play every game. Without Thomas Partey as another option, we've got nothing. That midfield is just flat. And today you could see just no creativity at all. We didn't get Odegaard on the ball in the right areas of the pitch to do any damage. I think 1 or 2 little times he got the ball, didn't he, on the edge of the box. He was trying to thread balls through. But how often did that happen in that game? Twice, maybe? It's just not enough, is it? We don't have the players there to supply him with what he needs to be able to give us that extra in the final third. And when we did get in the final third, the quality was just dreadful. The final ball into the box was just not good enough. And no one was breaking themselves to get on the end of stuff. I mean, Aubameyang was dreadful today. Absolutely dreadful. How he managed to play a full game is totally beyond me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there where you said the midfield's flat. I mean, he's looking to buy Ceballos for £22 million, and he's added nothing from what I can see. Nothing that's worth spending £22 million on him. And one sort of area that I'll say for Aubameyang that, yeah, he needs to work harder, but when he's got a midfield that gives him absolutely nothing, like you say, it's completely flat. Where's the creativity coming from?
Well, exactly. I mean, the only creative player we had in that team today, really, in midfield was Odegaard. And I say he was dropping deep and deeper and deeper, and he wasn't getting into the areas to create stuff for us. And that's the problem we've got. I mean, when Thomas Partey's in the team, you can see that he makes a difference. He can run with the ball. Yeah. He can, you know, drive us forward, and he can pick a pass out as well. But without him in the team, I mean, El Neni runs around a lot, but goes in circles, doesn't go anywhere. And when Xhaka's got a player like that alongside him, he's got nowhere to go himself with the ball. And that's the problem. You know, Xhaka didn't play badly today necessarily, but you know, it doesn't work him and El Neni. It never has done. And Arteta must know that. And yes, you could think, well, he can't keep playing Ceballos every single game, and Xhaka, they just can't play every game. Nobody can. But you've got to manage your squad better, I think. He could have had a chance to rest. El Neni could play against Benfica, and it's not going to stop our chances of winning that game, because Benfica aren't that good. Man City are a great side. They're great in midfield, and he picks that midfield today. And it's just, I don't know, I just thought that was asking for trouble. I mean, I saw the lineup and I thought, yeah, okay, he hasn't made as many changes as I thought, actually, but he changed 3 of the back 4, which I thought was strange. When you're playing Man City, you want some stability at the back, surely. You know, and then to bring El Neni and Xhaka together, which has never worked. I just thought that was I wasn't surprised by the outcome. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think you made a good point there, mate, in terms of something that I'm critical of Arteta is that he does stuff continuously that he knows doesn't work. Like you touched on there, Xhaka and El Neni together, putting Pepe on the right wing. I couldn't believe he'd done that. We've proved all season it doesn't work for him on the right, and he puts him there. And again, today did all of that.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that Saka wasn't out on the right. For me, Zinchenko was probably their weak link at the back, out of their back four. So you put your best player against him, which was Saka. That's what we should have done. And he went with Pepe down there. Pepe just didn't get in the game at all. Again, another poor performance from him. But yeah, I don't necessarily totally blame him. He wasn't able to get into the game. He wasn't given the opportunity to get into the game. You know, like you said with Aubameyang, yes, I felt a little bit sorry for Aubameyang because he didn't get the service, but there's no excuse to be pushed off the ball that easily every single time the ball was anywhere near you. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with him. He seems weak. He's lost his pace. He's lost his confidence. I would have took him off at half time and got Lacazette on, because at least with Lacazette you've got a focal point for your attack, which we didn't have in that game all the way through. And yeah, Lacazette came on at the end. It was slightly better, but it was too late because we were chasing the game, and even then we didn't really chase it, did we? Properly, we didn't throw everything at it. I'd rather lost that game 2 or 3-0, chasing it, trying to really put them under pressure rather than just accepting a 1-0 defeat, which has happened 4 or 5 times this season. We've not. You know, when was the last time? I had this conversation before. I don't know if you can remember. When was the last time we scored a last-minute equaliser or a last-minute winner under Arteta? Have we ever done it?
I don't know. I can't think of one. I don't think so.
No, I don't think we do, because we don't seem to play with that mindset. You know, if we're losing a game going into the last 5 or 10 minutes, or even if we're drawing a game in the last 5 or 10 minutes, we don't throw everything at it. We don't bombard the other team's defence like any team that's serious about trying to win a game. That's what they do. Even the teams at the bottom of the league are throwing everything at it in the last 5 minutes to win. Yeah. We don't do that. We haven't done it under Arteta since he's been there. I mean, I've been thinking about it for the last sort of week or so. I can't remember last time we scored an important last-minute goal. Ceballos won in the FA Cup against Sheffield United, probably. But in the Premier League, have we ever scored one under Arteta? Because I don't think we have. I'm sure someone will probably know. If anyone can think of one, let me know, because I've been racking my brains. I just can't think of it. And today that just summed it up. You know, the Leicester game at home was the same. The Aston Villa game the other week was the same. You know, we're 1 goal behind. Wolves at home was the same earlier on in the season. You know, we just not. I don't know. We don't seem to. We just lack that conviction at the end, just to throw everything at it. You know, get your centre halves up front, lob balls into the box. We don't do any of that. You know, we had a free kick at the end, which was one opportunity, a poor ball, actually. David Luiz ended up giving away a free kick, didn't he? And we need to have better quality as well. But we just, I don't know, we just seem to accept defeat far too easy. 11 defeats in the Premier League now. 11 defeats. It's just,
and we have Leicester away next.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, coming, 3 days after we've got to travel back from Athens as well.
Yeah,
a game that could go to extra time, could go to penalties, all sorts could go on, and then we've got to come back. We've got a very short turnaround. We're not going to get back to the early hours of Friday morning, and then we play Sunday. It's an early game Sunday as well, isn't it? I think. Isn't it?
I'm not sure the kickoff time yet, but yeah,
I think it might be an early kickoff. So and playing against a team that's second in the league, absolutely flying. And I'll be amazed if we get anything out of that game, even whatever team we pick, just because of the travel that we've got to do and the way that we're playing. Leicester must be rubbing their hands, thinking, well, that's a guaranteed 3 points next Sunday against us, and that's what's going to happen. I'll be amazed if we even draw that game. Absolutely amazed.
Yeah, I mean, I think you make another good point that there doesn't seem to be any urgency in the Arsenal team. No urgency. That the build-up play, we've said it before, is way too slow. They've got everyone behind the ball by the time we get there. There's no urgency to get a last-minute winner or a last-minute goal if we trade in. And I can't see it ever changing. One thing that I'm worried about is that they want Ryan, Ceballos, and I think Odegaard to stay on in the summer or sign them permanently. My biggest worry about that is we've got those players in the squad and team already, and we're still 10th. So how is that going to improve us going forward next season?
I mean, all I would say is, to be fair, Odegaard's only played 3 or 4 games. Matt Ryan's only played once. So I think I think Ryan's a good backup goalkeeper. I would try and sign him if we can, because he's certainly better than the other guy that we bought in. So I would say that'd be a good deal. I think Odegaard's got quality, and I think that if when he settles in a little bit better, I think he's going to be a good addition. You know, Partey's going to be fit. I can't see the point of signing Ceballos. I wouldn't sign him if he was free, because he hasn't improved us in the 2 seasons that we've had him. You know, if we've got £22 million to spend, let's look at spending that elsewhere, or maybe ideally spend more on somebody better that can really improve us. Because, you know, I think Odegaard will improve us, to be fair. I do think he will. And I think he has done to a degree. I thought today he didn't get in the game enough, but I think he's got the quality. But he needs better players around him to really flourish. And he needs better players in midfield behind him. Partey isn't enough on his own, is he? As we've seen, without Partey, we're very, very poor in that area of the pitch. And Ceballos isn't the answer, because if he was, he would have become the answer already, wouldn't he? And he hasn't been, you know. And that's so, to me, we've got to upgrade on Ceballos. And my fear is that I agree that I think we will end up buying him for £22 million in the summer. And I think that they'll take Odegaard back, Real Madrid, and we'll be stuck with Ceballos instead. And that would be a total disaster. And then, you know, are we going to finish any higher than mid-table next season if we've got that midfield again? Even if Thomas Partey's fit, he's not going to play every game. And that's for me. I don't care who we buy next summer. We've got to improve the midfield. We've got to buy 2 or 3 midfield players. That's it, urgently for this team. You know, we can maybe get away with the defensive players that we've got. They need to improve, but I think we've got enough depth there overall. You know, we've probably got enough depth in forward areas. If Martinelli's going to play more, you know, Lacazette, if he stays and signs a new contract, we've got Aubameyang, he needs to improve. But I think we've got decent attacking players. But midfield, we've just got nothing. We've got no options there at all. And you can see that quite clearly. As soon as we have to put someone else in the team, it's just there's nothing there. Nothing there at all.
No, I completely agree, mate. For me, Ceballos is just a big no-no. Final thoughts, mate. Who's your man of the match today? And that's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean, it is really, really tough. I mean, I didn't think anybody really probably deserved more than a 5 out of 10 overall for their performance. You know, certainly the outfield players. I mean, Saka was probably our best outfield player if we had to look at one. Just because at least he was driving at people with the ball, he was trying to make things happen. He linked with Tierney quite well at times down that left-hand side. He was probably the only one. I mean, I thought Leno in goal did okay. He made a decent save when he had to. He didn't have a lot to do, though, did he? So I'd feel bad giving Leno man in a match when he literally only had to do 1 or 2, you know, overly difficult things in the whole game. So I suppose pushed, I'd probably give it to Saka. 1, because I love the guy. I think he's brilliant. And 2, he probably was just about the best player out there for us today. The best of a very poor bunch, if we're honest.